All right, welcome back, Red Bull Ring. This track is a lot of fun to race on. Practicing on it, not so much fun. It is a long lap and not a lot of action. However, yeah, really fun to race on. One thing to mention, cold tires here, just before we get into it, watch out the first two laps maybe. The rear does want to step out a little easy with cold tires, and also there is a lot of understeer on cold tires, so it's very easy to slide wide and pick up an X. So just watch out for that. But the tires warm up here pretty quick. So setup, I'm prepared for all of the comments. If you see there's some yellow here, this is a funky setup. However, I do find it is pretty fast, but I don't really have any benchmarks to go against because the Ray has not been here before. So, ride height 20 mils. This is very low. Long straights here, lots of drafting here, so the ride height is way down. ARB is 0. Damper compression is up 1. There's a lot of braking uphill and downhill, and this is just to help keep a little bit more weight onto the rear. If you know my channel, brake bias is usually pretty high for me, a lot higher than most of you. However, this time it is way down. Again, lots of braking on hills, and I find having that brake bias really low is helping keep that back end a little bit more planted. So brake bias is an individual thing. Whatever you normally do, you may want it a little bit lower than normal. Spring rates, low as they go, of course. We want as much grip as we can. Camber, 1.5 on the left, 1.1 on the right. I know most of you, I think, do not like the asymmetrical setups. However, I suggest you give it a try. Most of the right-hand turns are cambered corners, and so that's why the camber is turned up. You do need a lot of grip, a lot of high-speed corners here, and the camber on the right is 1.1 because most of the left-hand turns here are off camber, and having that camber cranked up is putting less tire on the track, smaller tire patch. So if you want to go symmetrical, go with the higher camber. But give it a try with the asymmetrical. I find it does make a difference. Toe in 1.1. It is not very high, at least not for my usual setups. Turn in here is not a big issue, and as well having that toe in cranked up is going to probably give you a little loss in the big straights. So I do have the toe turned down normally from what I have it. Spring rates in the rear, again, low as they go. Camber, look at that, nice yellow. iRacing does not like that. 1.5 on the left and 1 on the right. Again, same thing. Right hand corners are cambered, left hand corners are off camber for the most part. Go with the higher value again if you want to keep them symmetrical. And toe in, 0.3 in the rear. Yeah, I found I did try having less toe in. However, I was not putting up faster times with a lower toe in on the rear. Ride height on the rear is 30. Again, pretty darn low. It is a little bit higher than the front just to keep that rake in a proper ratio. ARB is 20. Yes, you do need a 20 around here. You can try 15. That will give you some more understeer, and that may just be a little bit too much understeer. You may be getting off tracks, not getting the car turned in because it is a little tricky to get that car turned in. Rear compression 6 and 18, kind of the standard. 13 liters, that is very tight for fuel. If you are in a lower split, 13 probably will get you there, but if you are in the top split and there is someone fast in the lead, 13 might not do it, so 14 liters might be the way to go. And standard gear stack, which is actually surprising. I started off with a tall with all these big straights. I figured tall would be the way to go. However, there's just not enough grunt in the engine to go up those hills, the two big hills you got to go up. Tall stack is not doing it. So standard it is. Now we'll get into the guide here. I changed the usage up to 35%. 30 was maybe just a little too low. I was having trouble matching that in live practice sessions. So it's 35%, 31 degrees. It's the conditions for the week. And we'll get into this. So coming into turn one, a very big passing opportunity. So be aware that lots of passing opportunities on this track. Looking between the 50 and the 100 marker. In real time it looks like it's between the two, but in slow-mo here it is a little bit early. Shifting down into second, very hard on the brakes. Even though you're going uphill, you're coming in hot, and it is a very hard braking zone. You do want to brake hard early so you can pick up the throttle early. You can brake later into this corner for sure, but you are going to be compromised on exit. So if you're battling for it, you can brake later, but you will be compromised on exit for sure. Picking up the throttle well before the apex, getting right up against that yellow curb. If you get onto that yellow curb, pretty easy to pick up an X. It also disrupts the car, which may push you wide, and then you pick up another X. So lots of fun there. Throttle nice and early, just unwinding the wheel right up against this sausage curb. Don't be afraid to touch it. It's not going to hurt you. It'll just keep you on track, but don't go over it. That is definitely going to slow you down and pick up an X. So big passing opportunity here, of course, and just try and straight line it as much as possible so you're not scrubbing speed. And again, looking between the 50 and the 100 board, again you can brake later, but you will be compromised on your exit, which is a big straight. Again, after all of these corners, it's always a big straight. So hard on the brakes, down into first gear for this one. Very hard on the brakes. And it's very important. This one is pretty easy to spin out on. You have to be releasing the brakes as you turn in. If you are on the brakes hard, you are going to spin out. And again, getting right up tight against this yellow marker. And I probably should have been picking up the throttle here. I was a little late picking it up. And just unwinding the wheel. Again, don't be afraid of that sausage curb. Just rub up against it. No problem. It's not going to hurt the car. Another big passing opportunity for this one. Just be aware if you're battling, the cars behind you are going to catch up really quick. For all of these corners, easy to battle, but it will slow you down. And again, looking between the 100 and the 50 board, actually at the 100 board, just past it in real time. Once I'm past it in real time, hitting the brakes, but slow-mo it's obviously just a bit before. You can brake later again, but you're compromised on exit. Down into second, very hard on the brakes. This is downhill, so you do need to brake more than you think. And again, releasing the brakes as you turn in, otherwise that back end is going to want to step out. You saw I had to do a little counter steer there, and then getting up against the red and white curb here, picking up the throttle. Again, probably a little late picking up the throttle. And unwinding the wheel. You can use all of the track on exit there. I was a little late on the throttle, so I did not extend the track as much as I could have, but it was still pretty good time. And this time, making use of all of the track here. Keep your tire, I believe you do have to keep your tire in the white line. There are the rules for this track, so you can check out the rules there. There are a lot of them, so it's a bit of reading. So just between the 50 and the 100 board again, just a little bit of brake and shifting down into third gear at the 100 board. And I turned in here maybe just a touch early. You want to turn in maybe closer to this white patch here. And again, don't come in here too hot. This is the off camber. This is off camber corner, so this is why the camber on the wheels are different. Picking up the throttle nice and early. Get onto the curb here. It does cut the track a bit. Just don't be stomping on the throttle when you're on that curb. will want to make the car step out. And then just going wide, letting the wheel run out here, using all of the track on exit. And this one is also very tricky, I guess. You have to use all of the track on this one to go fast. Driving on the green stuff and then getting onto the pavement here. Just I believe make sure you do have to keep your tire in the line, but you do want to open this up as much as possible. Again, just a dab of brake once you are onto the pavement, in third gear still, and then turning in and getting onto the curb here. This is a bit cambered, and picking up the throttle nice and early, very early. This is a big stretch of straight. You can lose a lot of time here. And then just unwinding the wheel and using all of the track on exit. And again, very important to use all of the track on exit here. Just don't touch that gravel. You touch that gravel, even you'll hear one pebble on your audio, and if you hear that one pebble, you got an X. And then actually driving on the green stuff, and surprisingly, this is faster. If you try and get yourself over off of the green stuff here, it will actually cost you a bit of time. This is faster, probably half a tenth faster if you keep it on the green stuff there. And then just unwinding the wheel and using the curbs here on exit. Another big passing opportunity coming up, and in fourth gear, and once more just between the 50 and the 100 board, getting onto the brakes, leaving it in fourth gear, just a little bit of brakes just to slow the car a bit, load up the front end, and getting onto the curb. And as soon as you're on the curb here, shifting down into third, and then picking up the throttle as you hit the apex. Again, a little late on the throttle there probably, and just getting onto the green stuff here. Keep your tire on the white line, I believe, is the rule. If you get way out here, if you've come in too hot, you are going to get a slowdown. It's a painful one. And then looking for the end of the red here, just before it, little bit of brakes, shifting down into second gear, or leaving in third gear, I'm sorry. And then again, picking up the throttle nice and early. Probably could have been a little bit earlier. And again, right up against the yellow marker here. If you get onto it, you're probably going to pick up an X, and it's also probably going to push you wide into the next one, and you'll pick up another X. So watch out for that. Picking up the throttle and then using all of the green stuff here on exit. Again, if you go into the red, I believe it is a slowdown, so watch out for that. And that's a 41.6. I think that's going to be competitive. Again, I don't have anything to benchmark it against. So we'll run this out at full speed, and we'll see you next time.